Oh, hey y'all. I'm Kiera, your psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and welcome back to Psychiatry 101, where we break down complex psychiatric concepts into simple, practical lessons. Today, we're talking about one of the most important tools in mental health, the DSM-5. If you've ever heard somebody say, they just looked in a book and diagnosed me, or the DSM-5 labels everyone, this video is for you. Let's go ahead and dive into it. What is the DSM-5? DSM stands for the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, a mouthful. It is the primary diagnostic reference used by psychiatrists, psychologists, PMHNPs, licensed counselors, social workers, and many other mental health professionals throughout the United States. Think of it as a shared language. Instead of every clinician using different definitions for depression, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia, everyone refers to the same diagnostic criteria. That consistency improves communication between providers, supports research, and helps ensure patients receive appropriate care. What is actually inside the DSM-5? Many people imagine the DSM-5 as a giant list of diagnoses. While it does contain hundreds of psychiatric disorders, it includes much more than that. Each diagnosis typically outlines required symptoms, the number of symptoms needed, how long symptoms must be present, functional impairment requirements, exclusion criteria, specifiers that describe different presentations, severity levels when it's appropriate. The DSM provides a structured framework for diagnoses rather than simply naming conditions. Let's do a real life example. We'll use major depressive disorder. Suppose a patient comes into a clinic and says, I've been feeling really down lately. That statement alone is not enough to diagnose depression. Instead, the clinician asks questions like, how long have you felt this way? Are you sleeping more or less than usual? How is your appetite? Are you enjoying things you used to enjoy? How is your energy? Are you having difficulty concentrating? Do you feel guilty or worthless? Have you had thoughts of death or suicide? The DSM-5 requires a specific number of symptoms occurring during the same time period, including at least one core symptom for at least 2 weeks, and those symptoms must cause clinically significant distress or impairment. So the diagnosis comes from the entire clinical picture, not one complaint. Let's go over why clinicians don't just check boxes. One of the biggest misconceptions is that diagnosing psychiatric illness is like filling out a checklist. In reality, diagnosis is clinical reasoning. Imagine two patients who both report anxiety. One may have generalized anxiety disorder. Another may actually be experiencing hyperthyroidism, panic disorder, PTSD, OCD, substance-induced anxiety, medication side effects, cardiac disease, sleep deprivation. The symptoms may look similar initially, but the underlying cause can be completely different. That's why psychiatric assessment goes far beyond just DSM criteria. What else do we as clinicians consider? A psychiatric diagnosis includes much more than matching symptoms. We also like to consider medical history, current medications, substance use, trauma history, family psychiatric history, developmental history, social stressors, laboratory findings, mental status examination, risk assessment, functional impairment, collateral information from family or caregivers when it's appropriate. All of this helps us determine whether the symptoms truly fit a particular diagnosis. Can the diagnosis change? The answer to that is yes. Psychiatric diagnoses are not permanent labels. Early in treatment, a clinician may diagnose based on the information available. As additional history emerges, the diagnosis may evolve. For example, someone initially diagnosed with depression may later describe periods of mania leading to a diagnosis of bipolar disorder. Someone thought to have anxiety may actually meet criteria for OCD after detailed questioning. Someone believed to have primary psychosis may ultimately have symptoms caused by a neurological or medical condition. Good clinicians continually reassess their diagnosis as new information becomes available. What the DSM-5 does well. The DSM-5 helps clinicians improve diagnostic consistency, guide treatment planning, communicate with other healthcare providers, support research, assist with insurance documentation, provide standardized terminology across clinical settings. Without a shared diagnostic framework, mental health care would be much less consistent. What does the DSM-5 not do? The DSM-5 cannot read someone's mind, predict the future, replace clinical judgment, explain why every person developed a disorder, tell clinicians which treatment will work best for every patient. It is one tool among many. Common misconceptions: a diagnosis is not someone's identity. Mental health diagnoses describe patterns of symptoms that help guide treatment. They do not define a person's worth, personality, or potential. The goal of diagnosis isn't to put somebody in a box. It's to understand what they're experiencing so we can choose the safest and most effective treatment. Key takeaway: the DSM-5 is one of the most important resources in psychiatry, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. Experienced clinicians combine DSM-5 criteria with a thorough interview, medical knowledge, clinical reasoning, collateral information, and ongoing assessment to make thoughtful, individualized diagnoses. That's what good psychiatric care looks like. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments what Psychiatry 101 topic you'd like me to cover next. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and follow Psychiatry with Kiera on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook for more clinically grounded psychiatry education. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next Psychiatry 101 episode. Peace.